There was the Whitmer twins, then there was the Martin twins. He has a brother.
And Merlin is the other guy that was in there that looks like him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there was two sets of girls, the Kaufman twins and the Riley twins.
Sharon and Karen Kaufman, and Charlene and Christine.
Christine, yeah.
Yeah, Riley.
The twins, you remember? No. You remember doing that? Walking the pole?
No, I never did
I've done that. My goodness.
You guys did it. I think the Hershey's were good at
And then I swung with my toes upside down.
I think they were the smarter.
I think your brother Stan was the first one that ever saw you.
Maybe Chris.
Did you do it?
I've done it. Walked all the way around and turned around and walked back. I think I was with your mom. And then I flipped around on my hands and then swung with my knees around upside down, swinging up.
Oh, yeah.
With my knees swinging like that.
And then there used to be a
Do you remember you broke your collarbone in here?
Yeah, right there. Not my collarbone, my wrist.
Oh, your
Yeah,
wrist.
my wrist,
That's
that's
right.
right.
Sally broke her collarbone. You broke your wrist
yeah.
with weightlifting.
I jumped in. One of you twins caught one side. If otherwise, it would have went right down in, and I would have been singing low from here on out.
Is that hill still back here?
It's still there, but it looks awful small.
I thought that thing was huge.
Yeah.
I did too.
They didn't scale that down, did they? Or sell some gravel out of there?
I remember building hills down there, little bumps.
Yeah,
and the girls
they
would
fly
get
over
on it.
that.
Girls would get on top of how big is that? They're not very big at all. We'd help them. We'd push them down. The whole mess would fly apart.
Remember
They'd
there
come
was-
up to matter and a
Remember
hornet.
there was that one cliff where if we pushed people, it was especially deep, and we pushed a couple in there one time. They got totally covered up with snow. Remember that? A couple of first graders or something.
Once I ever came to dying at this school. Remember we walked down to the bridge just for a nature hike or something, and we decided to run back. And I ran and I sat in here for the next 10 minutes trying to catch my breath. I thought I was going to die.
Oh, really?
Remember
I
we
don't
used
know
to-
if they're making
Ernest,
it or not.
Remember we used to have a pond down there and we had an old tin boat, tin square boat?
Oh, yeah.
We'd float down and go across there and come within inches of sinking. We'd come up with sticks to keep paddling there,
I forgot all about that. That was at the base of the hill,
Yeah, at
right?
the base of the hill.
Yeah.
We would
wonder we didn't
we'd
drown.
go down there and then we made huts. We made huts back here in this woods back here, and the girls were trying to find us and we couldn't find it. They even had a teacher out there trying to find our hut and we still couldn't find it. We had us so disguised they couldn't find it.
Going to school here, the road used to go the old
Straight.
old
Yeah,
road.
right across the
I remember
bridge.
walking across that, coming back. That's all gone.
I told Jeannie on the way over here, that little hill over here, coming this way from Brent Carter.
Yeah.
The river, when it flooded in the spring, would come
That's right.
to the
Right.
base there.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't go to school that way.
And we went around this way. My goodness, that's right. Yeah.
This is the guy we used to race with in the morning. Because to see who could get the barn lights
Oh,
on
gotcha.
sooner.
Yes,
Or
yes,
the
yes.
milker prop running.
I
Yeah.
never told them that I'd go out at 2 o'clock sometimes. I turn around and back to bed.
There you go.
This is my niece, Judith.
Oh, hi.
Hi, your husband Wilmer.
Now you're trying to welcome me back to the young age. That'll be great.
Yeah, I
Constantly.
can't do that.
See you.
You were at my house.
We were at your house. We just didn't see you.
Honey.
See it, yeah.
No, she didn't.
Still around? Oh, she always held you on.
Yes, I guess. Oh, you did?
Nice.
I did. I surprised you.
Yeah, thank you.
Rosanna gave us these.
Oh,
She said she didn't know which was which, but I think it's the same thing. So, wait, there is a name. Oh yeah, this one's mine. This
books
one's
from the bookstore. Oh, nice.
There's a couple bags in by the
Oh,
cake.
Lucy's book.
Yeah, Lucy's book. Wow.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Turtle.
Lois. Thanks, I will look at
Turtle
this.
Heart. Unlikely friends of the life-changing bond. Thank you for coming, all of you. I think we're going to sing a song that we used to sing here. I think we used to sing this song here. Jesus has a table spread. Where the saints are gathered. Shall we sing that? Jesus has a table spread where the saints of God are fed. He invites his chosen people, come and dine. With his manna he doth feed and supplies our every need. Oh, 'tis sweet to sup with Jesus all the time. Come and dine, the Master calleth, come and dine. You may feast at Jesus' table all the time. He who fails
thanks so much for coming, by the way. So good to have you all here. God bless our fellowship, and let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. And Ted, would you lead us?
Dear God, we come to you this afternoon. We thank you for the many blessings and thank you for the years that you have allowed us to live. And we pray that you might help us always to be watchful and ready for your return. And thank you for the food, and pray that you might bless to our bodies and our bodies' lives to your service. And especially be with Irvin and Ernest and their companions, that you might direct their lives and help them to be a witness and a testimony of your saving grace. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Ernest.
Happy birthday, dear Irvin. Happy birthday to you.
We got Ernest yet.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ernest. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
One time we were singing in this room here, and Edith Krupp was a teacher. She would get a kick out of this, and I'm not a singer. And I was standing up there, we were standing in the front there, and I wasn't singing very good, which I can't. And she come up there and wrung my ear real tight, and she did that, and then I told her, you should probably ring the other one now too, shouldn't you?
I thought you said it was ankle deep. Sven said, yeah, it was. I don't.
Our oldest daughter.
So we live in the cities, and we get kind of tired of it because we're both country kids. So on our way over here, I took some of the back roads. They were all gravel, and we were all just enjoying it. And my kids were just, oh, this is so fun. And I kept telling them, this is where Grandpa Whitmer grew up, and they were like, really? This is awesome. And then and Marcus, that set him to dreaming. He's always dreaming about living in the country, and so he's like, oh, it would just be great to have this place right on the edge of the woods where I could just go and build forts. And so we had a fun drive.
Good. Quite an adventure. I'm glad they enjoyed the adventure with you.
Yeah.
This is Linden School where we used to, Ernest and I were part of the very first grade. First year they had school here. That used to be the boys' bathroom right here.
Over here?
Yeah. It is now a walk-in closet. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the bell here, right?
Yep. You want to pull that?
Didn't that used to be over here?
No, it was always here.
Right here. Okay.
I think there was a shelf here, wasn't there? Yeah, it used to be a shelf.
Okay.
And the drinking fountain used to be there.
Okay.
Used to be a lot of squabbles there. You know, we tried to get there first.
Yeah.
And then I think there was a row of shelves, or several rows of shelves in that recess, right? Right,
That was
Kelvin?
kind of a closet right here.
Oh, it was all a closet?
Just like it is here, but there was a door.
Enclosed,
I
okay.
think
Well, where was the fountain? Was it hanging right here? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was the girls' bathroom
That was
here,
girls'
right?
bathroom. And our teacher counted one time, I think he counted 17 girls coming out of there one time.
Was this door here always
Same
here?
size.
Was this always here? No, this.
no. They put this in. This was room 2.
So this was the upper grades, like
Yep.
4 through 8 or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other room, which we'll get to eventually, was rooms 1 through 3.
Yeah, there was no,
there
door
was
here.
no door.
Yeah.
In fact, the telephone hung right on the wall
Oh,
here,
that's right. Yeah.
Remember Andy Kaufman used to...
One time he was on the phone. Did
That's
he tell that
yeah.
story?
Yeah. Tell the story. Yeah. Tell the
Chris has
story.
got a good story.
Yeah.
And he was on that phone, and Sally was way at the other corner, and I was getting my books out of my desk, and Sally came and just, you know how Sally would do it? And Andy said, shut up, and she did it. And all of a sudden, he picked up a book and threw it as hard as he could at her. She looked at him so startled and just flew out of there. And I got my books and I flew.
Because he was on the phone and he couldn't hear.
He couldn't hear, so he was frustrated. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah.
Be careful, you get the book thrown at you. Yeah.
Weren't you telling the story he was counting how many girls were coming out of this bathroom one time? Yeah.
Yes, he stood outside. There was a whole bunch in there, and he just didn't dare open the door really, and he counted them as they filed out, and I think he said some number between 12 and 15 girls were piled up in that restroom, and it is little. It's not any bigger than it is now.
Oh, boy.
Mr.
Yeah, they put a doorway here.
The doorway here. We took out the middle window in there.
Oh, that's right.
Right. What was it? Oh, can I tell a memory? My first memory of this place was my little twin brother and I, and my dad walking up from the road through the woods, and coming, and here your dad was digging the footer for the building here, and a couple of you girls, I think, were helping him.
We had us kids
Yeah.
down here working.
Yeah.
We carried blocks, we picked up trash, we did whatever we had.
Yeah, I still remember that. It would just lay in the footer of for the building. Yeah.
We were doing, there was a ruckus going on when we still had the trailer house. And there was a whole bunch of noise going on. And you guys were banned from the ball field, I think, for a week or so. I happened to be reading a book. And Andy wasn't aware of that. And he asked me, how did it happen you weren't involved in that? Only because I was reading a book. Shows you his level of confidence in me.
You should also tell the story about the time where's Jim Hershey?
Oh, yeah. We were lined up
Jim,
here.
however, Jim, you've got a story to tell.
This was when Brent was subbing.
He's talking stories.
Brent Carter was subbing, and we misbehaved in some way. And so he had us lined up here, sitting straight with our backs.
I remember that. I felt so sorry.
And
Against the wall?
no, we had to sit straight up, and our hands out, our feet out, and that was our punishment. And I think you were part of that, weren't you? Okay,
No.
maybe it was just us three.
Here comes Jim.
Okay, so here's the story I was going to tell.
Okay, can I
Okay,
finish this?
yeah, go ahead.
And Jim, do you remember this? Brent had us sitting here flat on the floor with
You know,
our.
I was hoping that would have went blank with
Yeah,
you guys.
yeah, because you were the only one that ended up with a paddling out of that.
With a patent?
Yeah, with a patent on the paddling.
Maybe you should be an actor.
This is your story. Yeah, he had us sitting out here.
Right.
Backs against the wall, legs straight out.
I don't think we were allowed to have.
So you're doing it now?
I thought you were in that hall.
No, we were in this hall.
Right, yeah, it was
I
this
remember
right here.
seeing you.
I was up against that wall right here.
I remember I did feel
And
really
he came out, he always had a milk hose.
Yeah.
You know, like this, you know?
Then he was
And
slamming
then
on himself.
I thought I'd get up and do my own thing. And you know the rest of the story, right?
Okay, that's what
You
happened.
said that's the only time you ever saw me go to my chair. It stung so bad, and I'm not kidding you. I mean, and Irvin, he still does it. I mean, he can demonstrate it pretty good.
Not like he does.
Okay, here's the story of Elvin and Jim, I think. Remember the outlet over here? And one of you were holding a compass up to it? Or a protractor. What is it called? That.
No, I took one of Sally Martin's hairpin because it was close to closing time at 3 o'clock, and we're having a test the next day, and there was a math problem I was having a bellyache with.
Yeah.
And so I took her pin and I wrapped it around my pencil because I knew it was insulated.
Yeah.
I did, and I shut the clock off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you shorted the outlet, right?
Yeah, and I shut that clock off. And then I had 10 minutes to go and get my discussion done with Uncle Andy. I got up there and he kept watching that clock and kept watching that clock, and he asked you to come up, but whoever else had a problem kept on going. And that clock wouldn't move, and all the rest of the kids were out here, and the cars were driving in, and he was looking around, and what's going on here? That clock ain't moved in a long time.
Well, I remember one time you created like a spark.
Well, it could have been another time I tried.
Yeah, I thought it was what is the gizmo that you draw circles with?
Protractor.
Protractor.
Yeah, that dial.
And you held it up to the outlet, and Elv shoved it in.
It might have done at that time.
And so when Mr. Kaufman came around, you said, no, Elv shoved it in. Elv said, no, Jim hit me or whatever. It was a coordinated effort, as I remember.
Something like that.
Okay, why don't we come, not you and I. I think it was the twins. Yeah, they were just trying to dump it on. Remember we're doing spitwads? Alan, my brother Alan? We're having these great big ones with these rulers, you know, that could bend like that.
Yes, do I remember that?
Where's Alan at?
They did that.
And Mark Schultz, Alan, and we had these desks that lids would come up, you know, and you could hide behind them.
Yeah.
You could never, anybody could shoot you from the side.
Sure.
Anyway, Alan missed shot, and Luann Byers was
Her
up
mouth
there
was wide open.
getting half. And coming, got me right between the eyes.
Oh, one of them went right in their mouth.
Mouth, okay, he went, Alan went like that, Mark was over here, but he misfired. Got Andy plop right there. He looked up 5 desks with a ball.
Uncle Andy was teaching, and he had my desk. He kept me here because I would do the artwork, and he had colored chalk. So you remember these books? There were animal stories, and so there's characters, pictures, and I'd draw. And when I was supposed to be studying, I'd be doing my artwork, and I had that whole block. You know, they were in sections, the blackboard. I had that all drawn out of a picture out of one of those books. Wow. And Andy would keep that up there for, I'm talking a long time. Visitors would come. He said, there's our artist, and that's the picture he drew. So that's the memory I got of the blackboard. I didn't learn anything off of it.
Well, it was all kind of natural, I think.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So the phone used to be right there where that doorway is now.
Yeah, that door wasn't there, we put that in.
There was a phone
And we
hanging.
built the bookcases in, and the fireplace. But otherwise, the windows are the same,
The bulletin board used to hang
the
on that wall.
bulletin board was on this wall.
You must have shrunk the whole room.
And here's one
Yeah,
of
with insulation and wallboard.
Doris, you were a teacher here. You taught in the other room, room 1. And that was room 1. This is room 2. Grades 4 to 8.
Wasn't there a whole, I got a couple golden shells right here.
I think that was back here. Yeah, back in that corner. It was built-in shell. Yeah, there was another window here.
There was a window.
They took the window out,
Smaller window
put
here.
the fireplace here.
Yeah, and we'll always have that window open.
This was just a small window.
One time I fucked Clyde Schultz over the head with a math book, and then Andy says, "You are dismissed." Well, I went down, played by the river until the girls were coming home.
Your sisters?
My sisters, yeah, and then I just came home with them. It'd been fine if I didn't have sisters, but they tattled on me. I got a whooping when I got home.
We were out raking. We were out there, we were scared to death.
Another time.
So this was room 1. This is where first grade happened. First, second, and third grade happened. And then you advanced to room 2, grades 4 to 8.
Doris, here's one of the teachers here. Room 1. You have any stories?
I don't know. I wish the children I taught would be here to tell stories on me because I don't think I ever did anything like Andy did.
Or like Brent Carter did.
No, I didn't.
Who was your worst student?
Let's say it the other way. Who was the best student?
I had all good students, really had that.
No, I never got nothing.
No, just for the record.
You think he'd ask that?
Hey, Jim.
That teacher, did she? Well, I don't know what.
Just for the record here too, actually when the school began, everyone met in this room, all grades.
For the
Andy
devotional time.
Kaufman and Dennis Heindel. But just for the first week or so, I think it was, right? But everybody was meeting in here.
I didn't remember
Because I don't think that room was quite finished.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
And I remember Glenn Hoover. Andy was teaching Ernest and I. We were part of the first graders, and Jim and anybody else here? Sally and Neoma.
Violet,
Yeah.
Yvonne.
And he was teaching us the letters of the alphabet. He had the F up on the board, but he had it backwards. He had the lines drawn to the left instead of to the right for the F. And your brother Glenn caught that. He was in the upper grade. And so he caught it, and so Andy corrected it. So now we write our F's properly. But
that was Andy that made it backwards?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
I
Yeah.
That's why I never got nothing.
I mean, remember he was, Andy's a preacher. You know, they pulled him in here to teach these rowdy first graders. Anyway.
I do remember. Remember Mahershala Hashbash?
Yeah, I remember that.
And learning to read in first grade with Uncle Andy, we could say the words as good as a preacher could out of the book of Kings and Isaiah and everything else. Is that what it was?
Yep.
Man, I mean, we were reading.
I remember coming home from school the very first day and boasting to my mom that I could now read.
And so I showed her the word God, which was the first word he taught us, Andy.
Out of the Rod and Staff books,
yeah. And so she asked me what it said. And I said, dog. Whoops. I had it backwards. So that's the stories evolve from every one of us.
I
So.
wanted to say, you mentioned Aiden Schultz. He was nicknamed Clyde. How many of the guys here, you remember we made snowmobiles out of, maybe it was just Clyde and I.
You did, yeah.
Clyde and I were,
The rest of us weren't that creative.
but I remember Clyde and I were always competing with these little sleds. We made snowmobiles, the skis would turn, the tracks would go around. And, but none of you guys.
What did you make them out
That
of?
was you, that was your artistic skill.
Construction paper, we made them on construction paper.
Yeah,
We'd have races.
we had pens. We took the pen ink tubes, blew the ink out of them, and that's what we had for like the shaft going down to the skis. We had intricate stuff, I'm telling you.
So that's what you're doing during Larry.
Well, they didn't teach me very good.
Remember, he left for 1 year.
Do we remember how we used to pile the coats on the table here? There was a table here, we didn't have a coat rack.
Piles of it here.
Big piles of coats hanging down. Made for a beautiful hiding place underneath. Remember one time when the bell rang and Mr. Carter was here and a bunch of us hid under there?
We just called him Brent.
Brent.
Yeah.
We hid under there, and then he was wondering where these boys are. And we looked all around, they hollered out, and here we were hiding under here. And then he made us march around the room, just like around the walls of Jericho. Only he stood at the front with his hose, gave us each a smack on the way by. Yeah.
That sounds like running a gauntlet.
I think Chris was the only one that cried, though.
I was so mad at him. He made me start because all I said it to Jim. I said, "Are you having fun yet?" And he made us keep on and on.
Yeah, we marched around for a long time.
Terrible. I just don't even understand.
Well, we never forgot.
Look how well behaved y'all are now, though.
Really? Thank you.
Was it just you three that were walking?
To me, it seemed like almost half the class was walking.
Others had to join.
Yeah, if they snickered or something, he made them get up and
Yeah.
join. Yeah.
This seems like a small.
How come you guys never done a program?
You guys do spitballs like nobody's business. And it went right, where did it hit? I still remember you laughing.
You got one right in the mouth.
There was this big cavity on it.
What?
There was this big cavity on it. Merlin launched one and it went right in that cavity and about swallowed the thing.
I still remember you guys laughing like crazy and Andy trying to blame me.
You should have swallowed it.
But look at Christine, now give the story why you and Rosanna was sent home.
Well, we were,
Where's
singing that
Rosanna?
telephone to glory.
Yes, I remember, you know.
Oh, what joy to find, and he was so off, and I'm off too, but he was really off. And Rosanna and I looked at each other and all it took, and then we just tried our best not to laugh. But when we would laugh, everybody would laugh, so everybody would start to laugh. And I think his dignity was, I mean, I understand, but he goes, Rose and Chris, you go home. And we just looked at each other like this.
And laughed some more.
Andy, go home. And we're like, oh, we just looked at each other in shock. He said, I'm in it, go home. So we just went out the door and not even quite knowing what we're supposed to do, but she started walking that way and I was walking that way. And I yelled, what's your dad gonna say? And she said, I don't know, what are your dad gonna say? And he heard us and he said, I said, go home.
Did you go home like El
I went
Butler
here
went home?
and we passed like people that knew me said, why are you walking home? And I said, oh, I got left to go home early today. I don't even know which guy from church said that. And they threw back their head and just roared because they must have known. And when I got home, I told Mom and Dad. And I remember they didn't say a word. They didn't bawl me out. They didn't do nothing. But I think they were secretly laughing. And we went to church and everybody saying, I heard you got to go home early. And I got, no, you got to go home early.
But you know,
So
I'm
we
gonna
never
go
got in
back.
trouble. Rosie said she never got in trouble.
Yeah, going back to your grandpa, which was Uncle Andy. Who else is your grandpa? Who else has got a grandpa with Uncle Andy? Who's a grandkid of Andrew Coughlin here?
They're here.
That one there, you, who else?
I never had him for a teacher though.
Oh, you never did
had
that.
way more fun than
Anyway,
I
Andy, I think was like 50. He wasn't.
He was 53 or 54 when
54
he taught.
when he started teaching.
Yep.
And I went back to one of Mom's books back there when he started teaching. And I just want to, you know, we're picking on Andy here, but this was the first time he ever taught school too. And it was all new. Everything was new. And so I want to make a correction for everybody here. We're not picking on Andy. It's the stories that were part of it. But I want to go back to Brent Carter. When Brent Carter came down with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, and they had that anniversary with Brent. Wedding anniversary a couple years back over at their house.
I think it was, yeah.
And so some of these come back when I meet Brent. And I told Brent, I said, you know, I still remember the milker hose. And I still remember you giving me a good smack a couple of times. And he said, you know, yeah, I do remember those. And I said, I just want to thank you. Because I said, I'll never forget it. And I said, I might have forgot the reason why, but I said, during that whole time, you did what you thought was best. And he made amends. And he can say, you know, I forgive all that. I don't hold that. And I don't think any of us here holds anything with Brent or nothing like that. These men were put in place because we needed them. And I just want to make that a correction for all. And a relationship that Brent and I have, we're still brothers in Christ.
Yeah.
And
we respected Brent.
Yeah, we did.
He was harsh.
He added a different dimension to the whole program of the school.
Yes, we did.
He was very intellect and all that. Rhoda was a good teacher. Your sister-in-law was a good music teacher.
Yeah.
Taught us a lot about
I always
music.
try not to be too good though, because she was courting my brother too. I don't want anybody to think that we were chummy with her, and so I never purposely kind of act up sometimes. Yeah, we didn't want to be known as teacher's pet.
Talking about the teachers, how many teachers actually this school carried? My first teacher was Wanda Martin, your sister, Chris. That was my first grade teacher.
There was Edith Krupp from Oregon.
Edith Krupp there.
I taught here.
Dennis,
I taught here.
Did you really?
And my mommy taught here.
Oh, and I taught here.
Is that right?
Oh, you taught
For
here?
that semester, yeah.
For what semester? How long were you here, Chris?
Just one semester.
Okay.
Tim was a teacher.
No, not here.
Louis.
Well, my
Wow.
mom.
Brother Louis was.
Yeah.
I had him as a teacher.
Louis Graber. Yep.
Just listening to your stories, I'm developing an appreciation for the Lady Smith public school system. I hold you guys here, I didn't know what you were doing.
My last year was Louis Graber, and that was with
Tim,
the new
Tim,
building.
how long did your mother teach you?
Sure.
Louise.
She taught 2 different times. She
Okay.
taught the year we got married, which is in '82, and then she taught again. Who was I just talking to about this? Judith, or who was it? Dar. And then you said what year? 80.
That's when Clark was in first grade.
Right.
Right in there.
Clark was in first grade in '89.
Also, Valerie's sister Dorothy taught here.
That's right, yeah.
2-3 years.
Oh, and Jerry did too, yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister Jennifer taught 1 year.
Yeah.
Doris' sister taught here.
Nancy.
Loretta Martin taught here. She taught my younger brother.
Is that before she went to
Well, who was the guy that was playing with the students up on the roof? Steve keeps telling me that story.
What are you looking at me for?
He said some children got in trouble because they were playing up on the roof during recess. And, you never heard that story? Yeah. And, their parents said, well, what did your teacher say about that? So he was up there playing with us. He was a guy, young guy, but I forget who.
This was a lawyer station?
No?
I don't think Louis would let people on the roof.
I don't think Louis, because he got the older one.
Oh, Virgil
No,
Schrock
Virgil
was
Schrock
also
taught
here.
And so did Culp. James Culp. That's who it was.
James Culp, that's right.
Steve taught here.
Was it James Culp?
Virgil was here for 3 or 4 years, I want.
Valerie, can you tell us any stories about Lizzie Stasel?
How long did you have?
She used to live across the road.
She lived straight east there, and when we moved here, that's where she lived. And she had a little 2-room shack and a pot-bellied stove was all she had in there.
I remember she would chase us if we went across.
Oh.
She would chase us with a bow thistle. She got a bow thistle. Chase us back to school.
Really?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, she was quite, I said if I ever wrote in the Reader's Digest, they used to have my most unforgettable character, it would have been her. She told us stories of when they lived in Germany, when they came to America, living here, the hardships that they endured, her dad worked in the woods or something and he got both his legs broken, so the kids would carry him to a salt lick so he could shoot a deer so they'd have food to eat. Yeah, she was something. Then her dad basically gave her to this guy who was 8 years older than her father for some land, and she had 4 kids by the time she was 18 or 19 or something like that, and worked hard. Now, before we came, I hear that she was kind of an alcoholic. She was often drunk, but we never saw that because it was beyond, she was past that. But
Like Carl Stasel would have been her son, right?
yes.
Yeah, one of her sons.
And Albert, who was Albert?
Albert was a cousin of, yeah.
He was the beekeeper.
Yes.
yes.
Albert had the bees down here in the gravel pit, right down here. But yeah, she taught us German songs. She'd come over to our house all the time. She'd sit out under the shade tree and snap beans with us, or shell peas, whatever we were doing. And she taught us all kinds of songs, told us all kinds of stories.
You probably have better memories, I mean, nicer memories
Yeah.
than some of the others of us.
I think.
We were scared spitless of the woman.
Yeah.
Well, we were the first time we saw her, because we had just moved here, and we had this little pool that we were filling outside. We didn't have a bathroom in the house, and in the summertime we'd go out there and bathe in this little pool. And we were filling up this pool, and here comes this apparition out of the trees, hair every which way. She had on something with baler twine tied around her waist, and she said, "What you doing, kids?" And we were petrified. But she was harmless. And actually, she moved in with us for the one winter. She only lived in her house in the summertime because it was the winters were too cold. And she'd go with her kids. But they didn't get along very well, and whenever they had an argument or something, they'd haul her back and drop her off. And one day we saw there was smoke coming out of the chimney. And my mom goes, "Oh, Lizzie must be back there." She said, "You guys better take some food over." And anyway, so they didn't come back to get her. So my mom said she could come and stay with us. She was there 6 weeks, I think. And then I think your mom took her
Yeah,
for
you know,
6
that kind of
weeks.
rings a bell.
I think
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I remember when my mom brought her home one time.
I had a big flower garden along the driveway, and we come in there and she goes, "A regular cemetery." She was used to flowers being in cemeteries. You know, that you could tell us a bit about how you opened up that door. That used to be the furnace room on the.
That was the furnace room. It's concrete all the way around, ceiling, everything. And Linda and I took a sledgehammer to the wall and beat that wall out so we could put a door. It's not very wide, but that's as far as the wall went.
And that's now a pantry.
That's kind of a pantry. We have a little furnace that heats this room and that room,
Okay.
since there's nothing under
Somebody
here.
asked what source of heat you have for here.
That and the fireplace.
Yeah.
We burn wood,
Okay.
so.
I got a story on these guys. I just thought about it. I said, you guys are all good little boys. But I remember this one. It come to me by inspiration. You remember when Uncle Andy decided to invest into a telescope, microscope?
That is Kevin. Kevin.
Oh, you remember microscope, not a telescope, but a microscope. Okay, and then we dissect flies and wings and everything else and put it underneath there on a slide. Anyway, you don't remember that, but you do. And anyway, so the girls, Andy set up one time. He said, okay, the guys, and we'll have the girls come through to guess what it is. So we got our heads together, and you did your thing. We put that on a slide, and the girls come through, and they couldn't figure out whether it was a wood tick or whatever it was, couldn't figure it out. Finally, they gave up, and they said, what is it? Remember this?
I kind of do.
And one of the twins goes, finally, one of the girls, Sally or Naomi or Christina or Rosanna, one of them goes, well, what is it? And Merle, one of the twins goes, one of my boogers. And the girls going, they didn't want to look at that no more.
Hi, Kevin. Good to see you.
You remember that?
I'll
never forget
that. Good to see
In
you.
regards to Andy, you can all say what you want to say about him, but he was my best teacher. I learned more from him than anybody, all the rest of them put together.
Especially Friday afternoons. We could play ball from noon to close.
That's right. But do you remember the girls? I don't know where they'd be at. It would just be us guys, and he'd sit there and start spinning yarn. Do you remember that? He had some pretty interesting ones.
Yeah.
Well, he was one of the best pitchers, I know that, when it comes to slow pitch, yeah.
We had so much fun playing ball. He was a good teacher. I enjoyed every single day.
We could
I
persuade
mean, no
him
matter
to
what we're
stay.
saying, yeah.
We could persuade him, if we all pitched in, we're gonna play ball another 15 minutes, he would give us
I'm still here saying, I'll let you play.
Well, I remember
another
him saying, you gotta really study hard, you gotta promise that. Oh, we all study hard. I do remember that.
And you remember how he pitched all the time?
Yeah.
I
He pitched
still
and
can.
pitched
And that little
pitched.
knobby, didn't he have a little
Yeah,
knobby?
his yeah, it's froze like that. How many of him, remember him sitting behind his desk at lunch? He always had a red apple. He would almost take the half of the apple at the first bite. I'll never forget that. Where did half of that apple go? You remember him? He always had an apple.
Hey, too bad Sally is not here. Remember the Sally's the cow story?
You gotta tell that one?
Well, it was born out of a story, one of our readers, right, or something?
It was on one of our readers.
Where about some kids were picking apples and they rolled down the hill and the cow.
They were scrapping over who'd get the apple.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And they lost control of it and rolled down the hill and the cow ate.
Cow ate the apple. And so something happened. What was it? Was it
Sally was in competition with something, with somebody, I don't remember who it was. And then she ended up getting it.
Was it an apple we were scrapping over, or what was it?
I think it was a ball maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And then I spoke up and I said, so Sally ended up with the ball. And I said, okay, Sally's the cow.
And that stuck.
And that stuck.
That's where that came, Sally the cow.
Yep.
I remember that.
I remember you always calling Sally and I the fatties. And I honestly thought it was a compliment. I look back now, do you remember guys calling Sally and I the fatties?
The what?
The two fatties. Fatties, F-A-T-T-Y.
Whoa. I don't remember that.
And Sally and I looked at each other and we thought it was a compliment.
Well, I'm glad you were felt good about it.
You have turned out.
Looking back now, I'm like,
Somebody's not talking.
So,
Turned out to be.
we do want to play some softball now, speaking of softball.
piano.
Yeah. But before that, there's a baby grand piano in here. We have a friend Alex here. He's going to do a couple numbers. So let's go in there. Some of the songs we used to do. And then let's go out and do some softball.
I'll start off in the key of F and then I'll switch it to key of G. How many verses do you do?
As many as we can remember. Give us a little.
High 16.
Okay, we're going to see how many verses we can get of Just As I Am. Without one plea but that thy blood was shed for me, and that is come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come, I come, just as I am, tossed about with many a conflict, many a doubt, fighting and fierce within, without, O Lamb of God, I come, just as I am, thou wilt receive, wilt welcome, pardon, cleanse, relieve, because thy promise I believe, O Lamb of God, I come, just as I am, thy love unknown hath broken every barrier down, down to be thine, thine alone, O Lamb of God, I come, I come. 2 verses, seek ye first. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Alleluia, alleluia. Ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened unto you. Alleluia, alleluia.
Okay, well, thank you, Alex.
No problem.
Appreciate having you here. Now let's go do some softball. Jim's got a bunch of bats and balls. Valerie has some.
Home that, Bubba! Carry!
Yes, get him out!
Wow. That was impressive.
Hey, watch, lucky.
There you go.
Sorry. Second base.
There you go.
Oh. Oh. There you go. Nice one. Second
Run it
base.
down there, Belby. Run it down.
Second base.
Hey, I remember us playing a better game of ball than this 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Run, Jim, run! Hustle, you have 2 bases to go to.
Oh, yeah. Hey, home it, we gotta get him out.
Book it, Jim, book it.
Look it. Just touch home plate. Good deal. He'll get her. Oh, they go, boys. There you go. Go back. Oh, man, not that way. Yep. Stay right there. You're good. That's good.
Perfect.
Hey, it's yours. Come on home. Come on home.
Good. Come on, oh, Marcus. Good job.
Yes! Oh, you just took me out.
Okay.
Okay.
Go.
Good job.
And you have my phone, right?
I do.
Way to go, Chris.
Whoa, that's a good hit.
Very good.
There you go. You're on video, Al. That's it.
Yeah, you got it.
Look quite further.
Oh.
The poor Ford.
Come on home. Come on home.
Helping. You grab him.
Yay!
Good one.
First base.
Go home.
All yours, Al.
Adios.
Oh, you got a hold on.
Right down to his twin brother. Just run that all the way to second.
Good try. You were swinging. Oh, there she goes. Good deal.
You're on the base.
There we go.
Whoa!
Hey, look at that. Go. Hey, you can do it. You can do it. Bring it on.
Hey, no, yeah, that's the...
We play at least a couple games a year, just
Run. Safe!
He hit the base.
Safe!
Yeah.
Is he okay or is he crazy?
No. See? There you go.
Hey! Yeah! Don't let him get him!
You're batting after her.
Wow! Hold on her! Come on! Somebody have it on.
Whoa, good hit.
Oh.
Oh.
We're kind of bouncing back and forth. Los Angeles is home base.
Way to go!
Good hit.
Way to go!
You got it.
There, perfect. Oh, look at that.
He's out.
Good job, Jeff. Good job.
There you go, run, Ruth.
Go, 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 go! Hurry!
You got it.